I get slapped.
Came out of nowhere. Well, we had to listen last week we happy Monday. Last week we had a little reprieve because they Married at First Sight wasn't on. It was some recap episode
that nobody wanted to watch.
Wanted to watch, so we weren't going to talk about it. But
I wonder why they did that, by the way.
Have they done that before?
No,
I feel like they've never done that before.
To catch people up on what's going on. I watched some of that. Maybe there's so many episodes just to catch people up.
I think they're really, really stretching the season, and it was unwarranted. No one wanted to see it.
No. But we'll be back this week with another recap of Married at First Sight. But we had to convene.
I wish there was something we could talk about. I mean,
I know.
We had to reel our asses in and set up an emergency podcast because apparently I missed everything last night. I was sound asleep like a good little girl, and by like around 11, my phone went ding, then ding, ding. Ding, 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 bitch, you didn't see that shit? Sending me links. I was like, oh, Lord. So I'm going to start with you, Mr. Williams.
So I was watching. I was watching. Hi, ladies, by the way. I was watching with friends, and we all heard. I have it on always delayed. I don't watch it live. So, someone said, "Oh, mind blown." I'm like, put the phone down. Don't say anything. I thought what I really thought was going to happen was like some weird thing was going to win. Like, I think I saw something real quick that I was looking up Sean Penn because how many Oscars he had won, because he said that if Zelensky is not allowed to speak at the Oscars, he's going to melt all his Oscars. And so I looked up how many Oscars he had, and then I saw something that said Andrew Garfield, and I was like, oh shit. And I was like, oh no, don't tell me that Andrew Garfield won for Tick, Tick, Boom over Will Smith. Like some crazy shit like that. So I was trying not to think about that. But so we're watching it, and let me just tell you, we were like, if I had written to you, if I had said to you, and in a month, and I said, if I said last month, I said, you know what? I bet you at the Oscars, the biggest Oscars, so white, we've been fighting for getting black people in the Oscars, and now we've made it into the BET Awards, the Soul Train Awards. If I had said to you, oh, right before Will wins, he's going to go up and slap Chris Rock in the face and say, keep my wife's name out of your fucking mouth. On air, in front of billions of people, and then he's going to win an Oscar. You'd be like, you can't write this shit. You cannot write this shit. So, my take on the whole thing. First of all, addendum. If Ricky Gervais, who has done the Golden Globes and he eviscerates people talking about their families, talking about their alcoholism, talking about all kinds of stuff, like goes in on people and having a drink, and everyone's like, oh my God, that's Ricky Gervais. It's kind of like how people look at South Park as like, oh, well, that's South Park. Can you get away with that shit because no one else could, but South Park. Ricky Gervais has said some awful, crazy things to people, and people are just like, that's not funny, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For Chris Rock, who is a very talented comedian, who everyone knows is a great host, whatever, as well as knowing he's not purposely trying to hurt somebody. Not hurt, make fun of, yes, but not trying to be mean. He's not trying to be mean, first and foremost. He's a fucking comedian. After in the beginning of the broadcast, Wanda Sykes and Amy Schumer were going in on all types of people. Said to J.K. Rowling, "Oh, Timothy Chalamet looks the pandemic hit him really hard," and they cut to J.K. Simmons. Because he's old.
Mm-hmm.
They did all kinds of things that were making fun of people. That's what you do at the Oscars. It's a roast because everyone's celebrating it, this, that, and the other. When Chris Rock comes out and says and making a joke and this, that, and the other, and he made a joke about Denzel, that's saying, whatever. And then he goes on G.I. Jane. Because if you're not familiar with the movie G.I. Jane, it starred Demi Moore, and she had a close, not bald, she had a close haircut, very close haircut, which Jada's been wearing for 30 fucking years. She's been wearing it for a long time. That look. Now, I don't know if you did. I don't know anybody who knew that she had alopecia.
I knew.
Honestly. I didn't know she had alopecia. If you guys knew that, fine. That's fine. But I've never seen spots or it's never been. They talk about their sex life more than they talk about the fucking alopecia. I know who fucked Jada more than I know that she has her fucking hair on his fucking head. If he had said, "Oh, Will, you better know," Augustus is gonna. August, whatever the guy he's gonna want that Oscar or that would be one thing. Talking about their sex life or something personal, that'd be one thing. I didn't know about the alopecia. Fine. I don't think Chris Rock knows about the fucking alopecia. Fine.
No, I don't either.
But it wasn't making fun of her hair losing her. If he said, "Oh, you're gonna pull your hair out" or something like that, that's one thing. It was just the look that she had that looked like G.I. Jane. Okay, that's one thing. He's a comedian. Fucking grow some balls. That's second. Third, that motherfucker laughed. Will Smith laughed at the joke and was smiling. She didn't like it because it was about her. Fine. She's not going to like anything about her. You can say whatever you want about her. She's not going to like it. And she just that. What?
I'm sorry, I know, because you're on the road, but I didn't want to stop you. But I just want to ask real quick. She rolled her eyes when he told the joke. You saw her roll her eyes like, whatever. Now, the internet, because it's split really 50-50. One part of the internet is interpreting that as she was so hurt. Did you see the hurt on her face? No, I did not. I saw disgust. I saw maybe a little anger. I saw maybe she was pissed off. I did not see hurt. And one thing I noticed that the internet does is it takes a snapshot and makes this huge narrative. This man probably has to wake up next to his wife who's crying over this alopecia. He's having to comfort her, and they're going through these trials and struggles over this hair. We don't know any of that. I know that she sat on the red table and she talked about how she had this, how she was getting through this, that this was not a huge deal for her, but she wanted other women to feel, empowered that if this happens to you and you lose your hair in this moment, that you shouldn't feel that your womanhood is taken from you. That's what I heard her say. Go ahead.
I'm going to just finish with my role.
Okay.
Last thing I have to say about it. She rolls her eyes. She's like, whatever. He's laughing. He sees her, whatever, and then all hell breaks loose. He walks up and slaps Chris Rock. This is what I have a problem with. First of all, as a black man in America, you cannot fucking do some dumb ass shit in front of people. In the biggest stage, as well as you're going to be celebrated soon. In the biggest stage, you do not you are not Kanye West, motherfucker. You do not walk up on somebody in a live broadcast and then you do not put your hands on anybody. And I'm almost, unfortunately, saying, thank God it was a black man, because could you imagine if he smacked someone else? You don't fucking use, I don't care what they said. You bring it up afterwards. You say, hey man, I didn't like, or go to him while you're in there like, I didn't like that or whatever. Like, we'll have words, something along those lines. Mm-hmm. You do not get up out of your seat and smack another man, another fucking black man. And he is thinking it's a joke. Chris Rock has his hands behind his back. If he thought he really offended him, and he said it wasn't that bad, he had his hands behind his back. Thinking, oh, here he comes. And he literally slapped the man. And he was like, oh, shit. Now, I have to give it to Chris Rock for keeping his cool, for knowing what the situation was. Knowing that you have to acknowledge and be like, he just slapped the shit out of me. I fucking, first of all, can't believe this shit, but didn't make fucking, not like, what the fuck are you doing, man? He wasn't like that. He didn't put him down. This and that. He said, I'm not gonna say it again. Thank goodness for Chris Rock having the sense of knowing where we are, what we're doing at that time. For Will Smith, and also Will Smith has ruined his legacy to a certain extent, because he's not going to be known for receiving the Oscar on that night. When we were like, thank goodness Will Smith got an Oscar for a role that, he should have won some for other things before maybe, but thank goodness, let's celebrate. Let's celebrate. The only thing we're going to talk about, not his win, we're going to talk about how he fucking assaulted another man on fucking national TV and another black man, and I'm fucking disappointed. I'm disappointed. Go ahead.
You want to go, Tanya?
Yeah, I mean, I had to watch it several times, and every time I had a different take on it. First, when I saw it, I swear to baby black Jesus, I thought it was staged. Because like all of us we saw Will absolutely laughing about it. And I saw Jada's face, and I agree with you, Shahida, that she just looked kind of pissed, like, really, 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 dude? Like, we're going to go here, and that's it. I do agree that he ruined it. I mean, I'm sorry. A second part of me was like, I kind of felt it was the wrong place and the wrong time. It could have been handled so much better. Like you said, Chris, he could have chuckled, been pissed, and then waited for the commercial break, went backstage and handled it. Or could have waited until go to the Vanity Fair party, because they was all probably going to be there, and could have even come to blows, and it wouldn't have been blown out of proportion like it is now. I was disappointed because Will Smith was one of the biggest people that was, putting up the fight with Oscar So White and getting this inclusion for, people of color to come in and be behind the scenes, as well as being acknowledged for their hard work. When I saw that shit, second thing that came to my brain is, kiss it goodnight. Like, we were all witness to see an all black production team handle it. And from what I heard, they did a superb job. You've got diverse actors and actresses getting, accolades for their work. And in 1 minute, Will Smith destroyed that all, because I ain't gonna sit here and trip. Next year, Oscars is going to be so damn white. They're like, fuck it. We gave you your chance. You showed your ass. And now here we are. Now Will Smith could never complain about Oscar So White from here on in. And he better cherish that damn Oscar, because the likelihood of him he can probably pull out a better performance than King Richard, and the likelihood of him getting another Oscar is slim to none. Now, lastly, I'm going to say I'm disappointed in Jada, though, because as a wife, this is your husband's moment. This is what you work hard for all your life in this type of business. I remember Shahida, back in the day when the Grammys first started handing out awards for rap, and it was Will Smith, him and DJ Jazzy Jeff that were nominated for first nominated and won the Grammy, but they all boycotted Public Enemy. All of them boycotted because they weren't going to televise it. And he, his voice and other hip hop artists' voice led to now. I mean, well, hip hop is just so mainstream now that they gotta hear that shit. But I was happy. I was rooting for him because I remember him when he first came out. So to see him when he started, to see him where he is now, I was like, give this man all his flowers and shit. I'm disappointed in Jada in that the rumor is that Jada, her face looked a little pissy, but the rumor on the internet is that, she kind of looked at Will like, you better go handle that. And as a wife, I wouldn't want my husband, even if I was hurt or extremely offended, this is your time. This is your legacy. We're not going to taint that. We'll deal with this later. If that was my husband and he remotely looked like he was about to transition to stand up, I would have just been like, sit down, remember where you're at, and do not don't do this in front of these white people. Let's just call a spade a spade. That's what I would have been like. Don't you show your ass in front of these millions and billions of white folks. Because you could just imagine what white folks are saying. Hell, I've been seeing it all over the internet. So Chris Rock, I'm glad I agree with you, Chris, that I'm glad that he kept his head and he knew where he was at, because if he would have swung back at him and them two, I would have hated to see what I saw. But if the two of them started rolling around up on that stage, showing their asses, oh, please, I would have been like, I'm done. I can't.
And real quick, I'm not having nothing to do with this, but the show was really fucking good.
I heard.
Wanda, the three female hosts, were fucking funny. They
made fun of Jada too. Regina Hall cried at Jada.
They had D Nice for the first part. They had a band with a small band for the second part. Then they had the orchestra for the third part. So 3 different types of music. It was moving. It was funny. It was moving along. It was light. It was a new how it set up with kind of tables, kind of casual, but still. It was a great fucking show. Go ahead.
You done, Tanya?
I'm done for now. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So I thought a lot about this. Actually, really thought hard about this. One, I want to say for the alopecia, a lot of people did not know or have not heard of alopecia. So it's an autoimmune disease, just in case anybody hasn't, looked it up by now. The autoimmune disease where the white blood cells attack the hair follicles and hair falls out in patches. And it's really common in African-American women. And a lot of times at that point, they choose to shave off all the hair. I've heard Jada talk about it. It's not cancer. She's not dying. And I don't like to say it's just hair, because we know that hair is an expression of who we are. And it is very important. And it could be mentally stressful. It could very well be. And no one knows what you're going through if you're going through that process. I know if it was me, I would be having a hard time. I don't want to be bald. I don't want to have to shave my hair for anything. So if Jada was upset or sensitive about it, I get it. But his joke was about the movie, more so G.I. Jane, like Chris is saying, not necessarily an attack on her. One of the things I was kind of upset with the internet, like I said, it's kind of 50-50. is that it's protect Black women at all cost. There's levels to this. And people were comparing what was going on with Judge Brown Jackson last week to this. You can't compare. There is no comparison. People complain about how police talk to Black women on the street. It's not the same thing. Let's be fair. It could be fruit in the same bowl, but they're not the same fruit. So, there's a lot of exaggeration going on there. So back to Will. I was very disappointed because we teach our children, think before you react. Think before you react. Because at the end of your reaction, usually it's not worth it. That moment where you decide, you walked all the way up those stairs, and at one point in your head, you didn't say, this is not worth it. It was not about that. In my opinion, it was not about that joke. It has been about the 1.5 year long ridicule that he has been going through because of his wife having that relationship with that 25-year-old young man that his son brought into his house. And people have been saying, where's your manhood, Will? You're a punk, Will. Oh, I wouldn't let my wife, what? It was really, in my opinion, it had to be a buildup for that.
Yes.
Some people were saying in 2016, Chris Rock made some jokes about Jada when she was boycotting. And he basically, if you were kind of sitting on this, I think there's a problem too, because his joke then was basically, you can't boycott something that she wasn't even nominated for. So what? You're mad because your show Hawthorne, and it wasn't cutting. It was Chris Rock's jokes, and he's a comedian. And you don't just go up to a comedian or anybody and put your hands on them because you are angry. I lost so much respect for Will, because I thought he was better tempered than that. You built up this. You didn't want to curse in your rapping. You didn't want to degrade women in your rapping. You said that Black men were better than the violence that people rapped about in their music. And now this is who you want to be portrayed as. He deserved his Oscar. But you took your whole moment away because in that instant, you chose not to think and you went in on your feelings. I don't know what the relationship is with him and Jada, but I do know that for the last 1.5 years, your wife has made you look like a fool. You decided to get on the Oscars and then make yourself look even more like a fool. You can protect Black women and you can protect your wife, but that wasn't the way to do it. And now his son Jaden is, text last night. This is how we do it. This is how, how we handle. It's not a good look for any of us. And another thing that I'm very disappointed in is it was 2 Black men. We can't ignore that fact. We can't ignore that. But we also can't get into, look how you made us look in front of white people. I don't care about how white people feel, because, and then I don't like a lot of Black people telling white people that they can't have an opinion on this. I mean, the Oscars is for everybody to watch and for everybody's enjoyment. And Will, you took that moment to make everybody feel uncomfortable. You took that moment to bring in so much negative energy. For what? For a joke that you could have, at that, like Chris said, and like you said, Tanya, he could have sat back and be like, dude, that was lame.
Even if he yelled, hey man, that's not cool.
Hey. No one could be upset about that. But to put your hands on somebody, I don't like it, and I don't like the the narrative that's coming from like basically, I guess, like the pro Will camp and the pro Chris camp. No, because we all do need. I mean, Black people shouldn't be assaulting Black people on TV. Period.
Period. People shouldn't be assaulting people on TV.
No, nobody.
Especially Black folks.
It's and for all that we have gone through, for all that our ancestors have gone through, and I know somebody's like, oh, probably saying, well, now you're taking it to the ancestors. Well, you're taking it to judge last week. You're taking it to police, and you're equating it to that. So let me equate to our ancestors, and I'm not talking, you know, what do they call it? The when the Black etiquette. I'm not talking from that lane where oh, we can't do anything or be human or anything like that. Somebody said some woman said that white people are upset because they don't like to see us show any emotion. No, white people are upset because a man assaulted another man on TV. And there are racists who are in there saying a whole lot of other things. I'm not reading what they're saying, but whatever it was, you tainted it for yourself. It was gross. Yeah. It was gross.
You're absolutely right. He could today, like last night, when I woke up and heard what happened and started watching it, the after Oscars red carpet was on, and what should have been his moment as he's walking into the Vanity Fair party, should have been his moment to take that long walk, meet with the press, talk about it, you know, answer their questions, show off his award, show off his family, what have you. Instead, he whisks right in. They're screaming questions, but they're not even asking about his accomplishment. They're just asking about the slap. And he's not going to answer any questions. He goes in. Today, he should have been doing his victory lap.
Yeah.
But now he's just, you know, he's probably like, you know, closed in ranks and with his publicist and whomever trying to figure out what's to do next or what's even going to become of this. Because before we started, I saw online that the Academy has opened up an official investigation as to what to do regarding what happened last night. Now, I don't watch The View, but I did put The View on this morning because I wanted to see what Whoopi would say, being that she is Whoopi and she's all embedded with that. She really didn't say too much. I was a little disappointed. Like, she let all the rest of them say their piece and, you know, give their strong opinions to what they thought. But her only thing was, she said, you know, it was an unfortunate situation. And then someone had said that maybe he should get his Academy Award taken from him. And she was like, that's not going to happen.
No, and I don't think it should happen because he won that award before his outburst. You know, it was clearly he had already won it.
Well, he hadn't won it yet, but he was favored to win. But that's another thing that really got me too.
Mm-hmm.
He has now sat down back in his seat, calmed the fuck down with Bradley Cooper and Denzel and his publicist and all that stuff, and Jada, calmed the fuck down, wins the award. He has an opportunity. He has an opportunity to be not even necessarily apologize, although he should apologize for putting his hand on something. But he could have said, look, and he also talked about how King Richard was such about the family and this, that, and the other. It's a natural thing from like, look, I lost my head for a second because I felt like my wife was attacked and I was protecting her, and I apologize for stepping out of my, you know, for losing my mind, so to speak. He had the opportunity to rectify or at least soften the condition. He didn't do that.
No.
He didn't fucking do that. First of all, he didn't thank Jada, just so you know. Or his kids.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But he had a chance to be like, I know what just went on. It's his moment. It's your fucking Oscar moment.
He blew it.
Take the time. We were like this. waiting, watching him. What's he gonna say? He's got to say something, right? He's got to say. All he had to say was like, "I was extra." It's a very emotional time right now for me. I just won this Oscar. I was nervous. Whatever. I should not have put my hands on another man, black or white, this, that, and the other. But this is why I did it, because I was protecting my wife and I felt like it was too much. But I apologize. Put that aside. Address it, put it aside, and then say, now, everybody would be like, okay, well, that was, he didn't do that. He didn't fucking do that. He doubled down and was like, I'm all about love. And that's not showing love. That's not showing love.
I really think Will has been going through a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, even before this, he just seemed stressed. And we all seen him at that brown table where he said red table, that red table when they discussed the whole entanglement thing.
Yep.
And I feel like part of it was all of that crashing in on him. And he hasn't been looking good either. He has been looking stressed the last few months or so. But I feel like with all everyone looking at him and judging his personal life got to be too much in that moment. No excuse though. No excuse at all, because I'm pretty sure that Hollywood got to be a small town. Los Angeles is a small town. I'm pretty sure you all run in the same circles. If you were angry at Chris, I never got the impression from Chris Rock that if somebody needed to talk to him and say, look, I don't like X, Y, and Z, I get the fact that he respects people enough to be like, you know what? Okay. As somebody, we're in the same business and we're doing the same thing, you wouldn't want to have, bridges burning with other fellow Black actors. I would think that. And for him not to have talked to him, if he had issues like people are claiming that this goes back to 2016, you had all that time to talk to him. You had all that time to confront him. If you felt that he was truly disrespecting your wife, why would you choose that moment? Yeah. Why would you've seen him over the year. You've seen him over the last 6 years. You have had to.
And you're both megastars. So even though you may not be friendly with him in a social setting, you have people for that. You know what I mean? Like if I really had a problem with him, I'd be like publicist, manager, whoever the fuck, lawyer, get a hold of his people, set up a call so I can have a conversation with him, or hell, we can go have some lunch so I can just be like, we're adults here. We're middle-aged people. This is what I don't like. You got to do what you got to do as a comedian, but some things are just off limits. Now, having said that depends on who you are. I'm a private person. If I was an actress, if I was like an actress now with the temperament that I have, I would be one of those people like this is what I do for a living, but no one's going to know jack shit about me with regards to my personal life, my family life, none of that shit. You get my professional life and that's it. Don't ask me about lovers, boyfriends, my family. No, let's talk about the craft. These two, for the longest time, have been used. We're not asking for all that shit, Will and Jada. Like, we don't need to know about the entanglement with Linus. I don't even know how that young boy's name is. I don't know about anybody else, but I don't really care if they, one, have an open marriage, two, she slept with somebody else, her son's bestie. I don't care about none of that shit. I don't even care. Look, I feel for her that she has alopecia, but again, she could just shave her head for all I care. She doesn't owe me an explanation as to why she shaved her head.
Short haircut so many times.
So many times that it would have been not a thing for me because she's always worn short hair. She's shaven her hair so many times before off that for me it would just be like whatever. She's just short haired Jada now. But you can't have it both ways. And Will looked a little dumb because you gonna slap this man on national TV for saying G.I. Jane, but you ain't handling your wife for basically emasculating you on the internet on their show Red Table Talk, where she was talking to him about the entanglement, and he sat there all button lip, didn't say a thing, and looked like
he was crying.
Yeah, it looked like he was gonna cry. And that lame ass joke. It wasn't. I don't even know if it was a joke. I don't even know if he was paying her a compliment because she looked so good, and just G.I. Jane came to his head.
G.I. Jane looked good.
Right, G.I. Jane. I liked the movie. She looked good.
She looked
and
good.
Jada killed it.
For the hair.
And Jada killed it last night. That dress she had on, I was like, go ahead, girl. And she's a beautiful woman with or without hair. I mean, I get it. I'd probably lose my shit if I lost my hair, but I just found it comical that you would choose that platform to slap that man because he called her G.I. Jane. Now, if Chris Rock, what I really wanted to happen, if we want to really call it, Chris Rock, I was waiting for Chris Rock to, be like, oh, get over the initial shock, then just unleash the ether. Because we know Chris got a fucking fire tongue.
He knows what he knows where he is.
Yes, I know.
But sense.
The pettiness in me really wanted him. He's got the mic. Will went and sat his ass down. I would have just applauded Chris if Chris would have went in and started ripping jokes about, oh, you slapped me for that, but you okay with your wife sucking your son's bestie's dick? I mean, he's
he would have charged the stage. He literally would have charged the stage.
But what Chris did was a sucker move. I mean, not Chris. Damn it. What Will did was a sucker move because he was coming up there, and then Chris thinking, oh, a comedian, a fellow actor is coming up there. He probably think they're getting ready to do a little bit or something. He's laughing. He's jovial. You didn't let that man know that you were gonna come for him like that. So you basically sucker punched him, sucker slapped him. So you made yourself look even more like a bitch because why wasn't you screaming and yelling when you were walking up there? So you really caught him off guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And did you hear some of the other jokes? When they said, oh, Javier Bardem and Penelope Cruz, they're a couple. They're both nominated. Jesse Plemons and Kristen Dunst, they're both nominated. And then all these couples, and then of course Maggie and Jake Gyllenhaal.
Oh damn it, their sister. That's a good
it's
one.
So wonderful to see so many loving couples, and then they said Maggie and Jake. That's insane. If Chris had said something about her sexuality, something that was a disease that she could die from, that she was stricken with something, maybe she would survive cancer. It's like, oh, it's anything, life or death, or something that was purposely trying to fuck. Have you listened to some of the things Ricky Gervais said?
Oh, yes.
Alcoholism, drug abuse, going in on people.
Yes, I watched that Golden Globes performance and I absolutely loved it. I thought I was laughing my ass off. But back to what you said, Chris. Let's flip the script. Let's call it what it is. Jada's been emasculating this poor man for years. If Chris would have said, if it wasn't about her and he said some shit about Will, I guarantee you she'd have been sitting there like, she'd have laughed. Think she'd have stolen the stage?
She's made him look really foolish. But another thing that made me upset on Twitter is people saying, oh, people want to be upset with Will because he slapped him. But what about Woody Allen and, he was raping these girls? What about Roman Polanski? Again, apples and baseballs, they are not in the same category at all. The gymnastics that people are going to support. You get it. You love Will Smith. You thought that was cool. Maybe you don't like Chris Rock or whatever, but there is absolutely no reason for that man to have put his hands on that man doing his job.
Thank you. Doing his fucking job that you know that he does. It's not a fucking surprise.
This is not new.
He just fucking roasted Denzel. That's what he does. It's not mean. It's not insensitive. I don't know if it's the cancel culture that people are so goddamn fucking sensitive nowadays, where you can't say shit.
Nope.
But for you to walk up out of your seat and touch another person because you got upset about something about someone else, your wife, you're protecting her from what? I'm just so what hurts me more than anything else is like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Just giving them fodder. Just giving the people who
right.
See, they're fucking animals. See how they can't control themselves. See, that just gives them fodder.
And he was one of the good ones.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, Kanye West, you can see he's kind of, he may be mentally unstable and this, that, and the other. Or, there's a rapper, or this, that, and the other. If a rapper went out. Will Smith, dude, you have no fucking.
Listen, it sets a bad precedence because comedians now, they're, the Chris Rocks, the Dave Chappelles of the world, they're few far and in between. That shit that Will Smith did, it sets a bad precedence for comics out there now that are hustling, going to the improv, 2, 3, 4 times a week,
and some of them get attacked.
They're going to get attacked because now someone's going to see that Will Smith cannot like what someone says and it's a joke, and you can just storm the stage, slap him. In the world we live in now, somebody ain't going to get slapped. Somebody's going to get killed.
Not only that, it's going to change the format of the Oscars now. It's not going to be any fun anymore. It's not going to be anything. It's part of roasting Hollywood. Yep. There's plenty of time for Jessica Chastain to get up and talk about marginalized people and all that. There's a place for that, talking about how, being serious. But when it's off the cuff and having fun and we're this, something, there's no alcohol there. Golden Globes, they're fucking drinking. And I could see if he was drinking or he was drunk and he was like, he's sober and he's about to win an Oscar. Why would you want to fuck up your legacy like that? Yeah. Why would you want to fuck up your legacy?
And another thing, what I think it has done, especially on the internet, Twitter. I'm just going to go with Twitter because, Twitter, even though we feel like it's the hugest thing, it really isn't a representation of what people think. Mm-hmm. But what he did and the defense that people are giving him, it cheapens Black Lives Matter and protect Black women, especially just like Me Too was cheapened by a lot of women who have found out that, you went on a bad date. That's not necessarily date rape. There are things that you can oversaturate or have, like I said, these examples of like Roman Polanski and comparing that to this, and then the whole thing with Judge. Those are separate things, but you're going to cheapen the movement and the struggle that Black women actually really do have, and equate it to this argument with these two people. And especially because this woman and this husband have been messy as fuck for the last 2.5 years. Like you said, we have heard more about their business, and I think it's more Jada than him. But we have heard more about their business than anybody should have. But I know there was a couple of articles that Chris did that were written articles. And damn it, I keep calling him Chris. Will did that were in written articles. And I was just cringing like, no, stop. And I'm thinking like, you two have children. Y'all, you have children together. This is not the example you want to teach them? And even your sex life, why do you want them knowing all of your business?
Look at how they were treating the Supreme Court nominee.
Yeah.
Do you believe that babies are racist? And she takes a moment to go, I wish you would be like, are you fucking serious? You dumb motherfucker. She took a moment.
Yep.
No, Senator, I don't believe.
And all the Cory Booker came out and supported her, gave her that mental hug that she needed. He offered her the protection of his words. He didn't slap Cruz. I want to see somebody slap Cruz.
Oh, child. Listen, Will Smith would have been the king of everything had he just shut his damn mouth, sat there, and he should have used his acceptance speech to address it. He could have easily said, thank you to Academy, do all that stuff, and then he could have joked it off by saying, "Hey, Chris, we need to have a talk backstage."
He didn't have to joke it off. He didn't have to even joke it off. He could say, before we start, I'd like to say, I know these. He did say something like that in his speech. He said, people are making fun of and this, that, and the other, but I didn't really take it. I took offense to that joke, and I was going to walk up there and say something or whatever if he wanted to joke it off. But he could have said, we're scrutinized a lot and this, that, and the other, and then go into it. But
nobody would remember that joke. Nobody would have remembered that joke if he had just accepted his award, sat in his seat, then went on to accept his award, and then later said something to Chris. Nobody would remember that joke. Right. It wasn't worthy of remember that time? It wasn't even that funny.
It wasn't about her sexuality.
I don't even think it was a joke. I think he just saw her.
It wasn't anything life threatening. It wasn't like she was dying or she had a disease that she.
Listen, everybody's Monday morning quarterbacking it, and I'm sure Will has replayed that moment. He's going to be replaying that moment over and over for a long time because he's looking at his missed opportunities today.
His legacy he's not going to be known for winning that. And also Academy members now are going to fucking, just like you said, Tanya, if he's up for another nomination or he has a great thing than the other, there's going to be at least 15, 20% of people that'll be like, you know what? He disgraced the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not voting for him regardless. He'll never win an Oscar. I don't think he'll ever win an Oscar again, or it'll be a long time coming.
Yeah.
Another thing.
Don't put your hands on somebody.
Another thing that really bothered me. Chris has 2 daughters. He has 2 children. And I don't know their ages, but I'm going to say they're under 25.
Yeah, they are.
Why would you, again, not thinking, what if his daughters run into your children and it was too silly of a moment to make it what it is. And again, I just really feel that he's just going through some things and and somebody was saying too, they're like, well, he's from Philly. So, that man ain't been from Philly. When he was in Philly, his life, like he said, was not in the streets or anything like that. His parents did very well. Now, I did hear that his father was abusive to his mother. But you read his book. So I mean, I'm 100% that can scar you and hurt you and leave pieces. But you had years to deal with it. So I don't think that's the reason.
Resources. He's had years to deal with it. He's a friggin' gazillionaire. He has resources. It's not like the normal folk that that stigma and all that. He could easily hire the best and keep it in secret. They just choose to put their business, or Jada chooses to put their business in the street. It could have just been handled so many different ways, and
many different options,
and
so many, and that's what I'm saying. This man has cultivated his entire career and how he wants to be perceived as a man, how he wanted to be perceived as an actor and a rapper, and you just decided. What's that? What did it say?
Oh my God, is that The Rock saying it?
The Rock said, "Jada, I can't wait to see you in G.I. Jane 2," and we'll go like this and laughing. Like you going?
So maybe it really is something that him and Chris do.
There has to be history. But even with that history, you don't put your hands on the man.
Because when you were coming up to that man, he was smiling and laughing. He did not know what was about to happen.
Sucker slapped him.
Yeah, because they both kind of look like they had. Well, Chris, you saw straight on, and you could see that he kind of has it's kind of like an awkward, like, okay, what's going to happen? But he kind of has a smile.
Laughing,
And then Will, when he hit him, it looked when he turned around, like he had a smirk smile on his face as well. So I'm like, what the hell?
But if you watch Chris Rock when they announced the winners for the thing that he announced, he kept his cool composure. When he asked them there, he is shell-shocked going, he can't believe that Will Smith just did that. I really can't, because they've got to address it. It's got to be addressed. I can't wait to see what the fallout, not the fallout, but what Chris Rock has to say something about it.
He has 6 months to press charges. I know he said last night that
I don't think he's going to press charges.
I don't think he is either, but he has.
He already said that.
But the internet can change your mind, just like Will was just being dogged about his manhood. We don't know. It could. I mean, I hope he doesn't press charges because it's just going to make it bigger than what it is, and I would like us to be able to put it behind us and move on because I like both of their projects.
Hell, you know what? How about this, Jada? Why don't you invite Chris and Will to the red table? Bring it to the red table. Let's hash it out. Do something.
How about you just sit the fuck home and stop being messy?
Shut the fuck up.
I agree. I think after this, look, if you want to have your red table talk,
I'm tired of Granny. I'm tired of Willow.
What if Wanda Sykes said it? What if she said it? It's an innocuous joke. What if Wanda
Regina Hall told the joke about something about marriage and extramarital affair. You watched it, right?
Yeah.
You don't remember? I don't see nobody talking about that joke. That was harsher.
I don't see nobody also talking about, I mean, I guess it was a feel-good moment, but if it was, again, I read into things as of let's flip the shoe on the other foot. Like when Regina Hall was doing that, I saw it. I didn't watch it live. I just saw it on the playbacks where she was like literally groping Bradley Cooper and what's the other guy? Lisa Bonet's husband. I think it was him or
Jason
someone.
Jason
Momoa. And she was like, oh, COVID test. And she's like rubbing them down and said something about she'd like to give him a COVID test with her tongue or something. And I'm saying to myself, although I chuckled, because I'm not the most politically correct person and I just like to laugh. I chuckled, but my brain was like, ooh, if that was Bradley Cooper and Jason Momoa and a bunch of other dudes up there, like, come here, whoever.
Or what if it was a man with 5 women? What if it was a man that said, "Oh, I'm going to frisk you down and pat you this, that, and the
That would have been a creepy moment.
Exactly.
That would have been all the women in that audience if they'd have shown their faces, they would have been like, it would have been a nightmare if the roles were reversed. So I feel like this: if it ain't good, if it's not a good look for one man to be groping 5 women, then don't have one woman groping all these men. This is the world we live in now because everybody's so fucking butthurt over certain things. Now you're going to have comedians scared. You're not scared, but being cautious more than ever now because they're going to be afraid that now they're going to have to hinder their craft because they're going to be afraid if they get too risque, somebody's going to come up there and slap the shit out of them.
I want to see what Colbert has to say. Because everyone has to. You have to address it. You have to address it.
Jimmy Fallon was on The View this morning, and I just was waiting for him. He's a comedian, but he's probably waiting for his show tonight to do it because, you know, Questlove is.
Conan O'Brien tweeted. He said, "Anybody have a talk show that I can host now?"
Yeah. Another funny one when you Shahid, I don't know if you saw it or Chris, if you saw it, was Mia Farrow. Did you see Mia Farrow's tweet?
No. What did she say?
So Mia Farrow, and it only came up on my time. I don't follow her. It only came up on my timeline because somebody that I follow must follow her and responded. And I was damn, people are just going in. She said, Mia Farrow said something to the point of it was what she witnessed was disgusting. And somebody that I follow replied to her, "Ma'am, your husband married your daughter."
Apples and oranges again. And then if you're going to say that was what Chris said was hurtful to Will, how was that not hurtful to her?
Yeah.
You mean that was a low blow because it's two different matters.
Yeah.
I saw that.
People are all over the place.
Smith, the guy from ESPN, he was just like there was no excuse for him to do, and I never agreed with him, but I agreed with him today. No excuse for what he did and how he behaved.
Yeah, I just don't like Stephen A. Smith. Period.
No, I don't either.
Every time he opens his mouth, I turn because he's I can't stand him. So anyway, I think we've had our share talk about this. I'm sure people are going to be talking about this all week. I'm going to record the late night talk shows tonight and see what I can watch at 2-3 o'clock in the morning when I wake up. On a side note, where we got Married at First Sight coming back up this week because we had that shit ass recap show that nobody watched. But you two have finished Love is Blind Japan, and I'm on episode 3. And it's
nice. All right.
That's so far. So we'll have to talk about that when I'm finally done.
Can I just say one thing about that show? Because I just keep thinking about it. And Chris, you said it. That was one of the right. I mean, I know you was all goo-goo-eyed about it, but it was the level of maturity. And I told you guys, I wrote about it on our website. The level of maturity from 20, the oldest was 56. Everybody handled it. The person who was rejecting someone and the person that was being rejected.
Yeah,
there was no throwing things, no crazy yelling or threats or cursing or anything. It was all just very interesting. And it was very interesting because there were couples that did not get along. And I like the aspect that they took marriage so seriously that it wasn't about, nope, you got to get to the altar. You got to make your decision at the altar. No, a lot of them made their decisions before they got to the altar, but it was so very respectful.
One thing that I really noticed about it too, real quick. One thing I really noticed about it is they bring up issues in front of other. That's Americans don't.
Yes.
They bring up the issues in front of the person with other people.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Much more because they can't say it to them directly, so they'll bring it up. And I was like, oh shit, that's how they're rolling in Japan. He's like, yeah, so I think he's ugly, but
But I like it. This was a refreshing. It is a refreshing. I'm on episode 3, but it is the most refreshing reality show that I've seen, and that's the kind of reality. Yeah, that's the kind of reality show that I like. I don't like this vitriol and this pettiness and this cattiness and bickering back and forth and the disrespect. And I love how the girls and the guys, they hug each other and they're just they just love each other. When one cries, they're like, oh, hold my hand, and we'll get you something to drink. Even everything on down to the wardrobe, they're not tits out hanging out, and they're not talking about sex stuff and all that stuff that the Americans
have a small conversation.
Yeah, but
and also later seeing. No, I just lost it. Just holding on to it too. Oh, if you like how this show is done, as I said, Shahida, once you get to my favorite couple of all time, oh my God, I'm like in love. I mean, Woody and Amani, it's a B to me.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait to see it.
This for what they had to overcome and stuff.
Okay.
I love Woody and Amani, but I want that couple.
I get what you're saying.
Oh
I get what
God.
you're saying.
The selflessness and the true love of like, you'll see. Anyway,
I can't wait to see it.
It was really good. It was but can I say one last thing before we hang on? Married at First Sight. And this is why I wrote it. I know they probably ain't gonna see it, but I tagged them in them anyway. You know, this is what we want to see. You know, I think they have purposefully put in these toxic couples with issues. Now, these people had issues too, but they said, you know, even though I have these issues, I'm going to speak to my partner respectively about whatever.
Right.
Married at First Sight, you know, even Love is Blind US. I think they purposely pick people so that they can have some drama. And you really don't need all that drama to have a really good show.
No.
I'm tired of
you're gonna get drama. You're gonna get drama anyway.
You are, and there was drama in this. You know. I mean, there were a couple of times I was like not rooting for certain people. There was a couple of people I did not like. Right. But I couldn't be like, oh, I hate so and so. They weren't on Alyssa status or Michaela status. They were just like, not my cup of tea. I see you. Yeah, like, I see you. But and I would hope that they would do that. But I saw a little bit of Brazil.
Oh, I watched Brazil too.
That looks like a hot mess. I don't think I'm gonna.
It is a hot mess.
Yeah, I'm done. I could tell that from the episode 1. I'm like, if I wanted to see this, I got US. And I got Married at First Sight. I don't need.
It's almost a combination of the two. It's also interesting to me. Also going back to what you're saying, with the guys are loving each other, hugging each other. They're not afraid to touch. They're not afraid to cry. They're not afraid to be vulnerable, as the women are.
Yeah, they're not afraid to be vulnerable.
But in America, they're like, "Fuck that bitch." Excuse me.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well,
you know what? Look at where we are now with this whole thing. We have sunk into a level. We don't respect one another. We don't. You know.
Oh my God.
You don't have that care for the person, because a lot of times when I say things to people when I'm angry, it's like I caution myself first because I love this person. That's why you say with Married at First Sight. You can't say that you love somebody and speak to them that way.
No.
Right.
No.
Right.
All right. Let's wrap it up, Tanya.
Good to hear. One final thing back to the Oscars. Shout out to Regina Hall, because she's got a movie out that I watched this weekend. If y'all have Amazon Prime, it's in the theaters. But if y'all have Amazon Prime, two things I want to plug real quick, because I watched them too today. Master on Amazon Prime with Regina Hall.
I was gonna watch it.
It's really good, very triggering, but realistic.
That's why I haven't really watched it.
Chris, did you see it?
No, I didn't know about it.
Yeah. Watch it on Amazon Prime. I was triggered. I was triggered by it because I went to not Ivy League, but I went to a university where I was like one of a handful of Blacks, and outside of the football team, the athletes and shit, like regular students. So a lot of that stuff was triggering. But it's a really, really good movie. Regina Hall is really good in it.
Okay. What's the other one?
The other one is, Lord, Atlanta is back.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Oh, yeah.
It's good.
Thursday.
It's on FX and Hulu.
It's
Atlanta.
Okay.
It started.
It's
Season 3 started, and they pumped out 2 episodes back to back. And I was lazy, so I watched them this morning, and I was legit sitting up in bed like,
And I love the fact that
fucking man.
all 4 of them are fucking movie stars.
Yes.
They're all
incredible.
fucking. It's really good.
If you haven't peeped Atlanta, you got to get yourself on Hulu, number one, because watch them seasons, and then season 3 just started on FX and Hulu, obviously. But
the last season,
so good. But anyway, we thank you guys, and thank you for letting us vent. Chris, thank you. Shahida, thank you, and we'll be back at it this week because we'll be talking about Married at First Sight. See ya. Peace out.